April 1945. A US Army train convoy slows outside a place called Dachau. At first, it looks like just another siding. Then the soldiers force open the wooden doors of a freight car, and hell spills out. Inside are bodies, hundreds of them, twisted together, skin stretched over bone, eyes sunk deep. No one is counting, but later they will say around 2,000 dead lie in those cars alone. The stench hits like a physical blow. Men who have fought for 500 days across Europe turn away, gagging. Some vomit, others just stare, frozen, trying to understand what kind of war produces this. They push on towards the camp. The gate reads, Arbeit macht frei, work sets you free. Behind it, freedom has been systematically murdered. Living skeletons drag themselves towards the strangers in unfamiliar uniforms. Some fall at their feet, too weak to speak. Others cry without sound. Between the barracks, bodies are stacked like cordwood. The crematorium ovens are still warm. Ash clings to the brick, to the rails, to the air itself. The soldiers have been trained to distinguish enemy from civilian, combatant from prisoner, but nothing in their manuals explains this. These are not casualties of battle. This is industrialized death. Every sign, every building, every ledger they see whispers the same thing. Someone designed this, someone signed orders, someone kept the trains on time, and those people are still here. Near a coal yard wall, a group of SS guards has surrendered. Their weapons are gone. Their hands are up. They stand in front of the very camp they ran, under the eyes of men who have just walked through their handiwork. An American machine gunner looks from the guards to the bodies, back to the guards. He can still smell the freight cars. For years, the guards here decided who would live for one more day and who would die before sunset. Now, in a single heartbeat, that power flips. Somewhere between rage and command, the trigger is pulled. The gun chatters. Men fold against the wall, uniforms jerking, backs exploding red. Others drop to their knees, trying to crawl away, only to be cut down. When the officer in charge returns, several SS lie dead, a dark smear against the pale stone. He shouts, orders the fire stopped, re-establishes discipline. Officially, the report will say they tried to escape. Unofficially, everyone knows the truth. Something broke in that coal yard, and it was not just the rules of war. Dachau is not the only place where that line snaps. At Buchenwald, the prisoners are already prepared. For years, a secret network of political inmates has kept lists, names of guards, capos, informers, men who beat the weak for extra bread, men who chose who went to medical experiments and who went to the quarry. When the SS begin to flee and the Americans draw near, the underground resistance seizes the watchtowers, arms itself, and takes control. By the time the first US tanks roll through the gate, the prisoners have their own prison. In a basement cell, SS men and brutal capos sit on the same benches where they once forced others to kneel. Outside, a crowd of the newly liberated gathers, eyes burning with a kind of cold, focused hatred you do not see on a battlefield. There are no uniforms now, only faces remembered. Some are dealt with in chaos, beaten where they stand with fists, boots, pipes torn from the walls. Others are dragged before rough wooden tables where improvised committees sit. Testimony is given, accusations shouted, tears spill as people point and say, "He killed my brother, he kicked my father until he could not walk. She sent children to the block." There are no lawyers, no appeals. Sentences are carried out behind barracks, on the same ground where victims once lay. At Bergen-Belsen, the British find 60,000 human beings barely alive, lying among 13,000 corpses. Disease crawls through the ranks: typhus, tuberculosis, dysentery. Here, vengeance takes another form. SS men and women are forced to pick up the rotting corpses with their bare hands, to carry them, to dump them into pits gouged from the earth by bulldozers. No masks, no gloves, everybody a silent accusation. Some guards cry, some vomit, Some stare straight ahead, faces carved from stone. A few will be dead themselves within days, claimed by the same disease they helped unleash. It is not a court sentence, but it is not mercy either. It is a message: you will touch what you created. And then there are the nights. When the gates first open, many prisoners do not run or cheer. They stand, they wait. They have learned that hope can be a trap. But once it is clear the SS have lost their power, something long buried tears its way to the surface. Capos who beat and betrayed for a little more soup. Informers who whispered names to the Gestapo. Guards who traded bread for humiliation. The camp remembers them all. Somewhere between the barracks, a figure is dragged into the shadows. A rope appears from nowhere, a belt, a length of wire. There is shouting in Polish, Russian, French, German, languages mixed by suffering but united in purpose. A man who once strutted in a green triangle now begs with his hands. The plea dies in his throat as the loop tightens. His body jerks, then hangs still. In the morning, he will be gone, buried in a pit, or left where the SS left others for years. In another corner, a woman recognized as a guard tries to hide among the inmates. Her hair is cut, her uniform gone, but the tattoo under her arm gives her away. Survivors surround her. Some want her dead immediately. Others insist on telling the story first, forcing her to hear every name, every act, before the blows begin. For them, it is not just about ending a life. It is about reclaiming the right to say, "This was wrong," in a place where wrong ruled unchecked. Allied soldiers move through this storm of reckoning with eyes wide open. Some step in, pull people apart, shout orders, reimpose the law they brought with them from across oceans. Others see the bruised faces, the torn striped uniforms, the piles of dead children, and quietly turn away. A rifle is placed where a prisoner can reach it. A guard is left unguarded a little too long. Later, men will sit at desks far from the smell of those camps and write words like irregularities, uncontrolled incidents, transitional violence. They will talk about conventions and statutes, about what is allowed and what is forbidden. They will hold trials in Nuremberg, Hamburg, Lublin, where former guards stand in proper suits with translators and defense attorneys, and verdicts are spoken into microphones. But in the first hours after liberation, justice does not wear a robe. It wears torn stripes and hollow eyes. For the survivors, what happens in those hours is not simple revenge. It is the first time in years that cause and effect make sense. Hurt does not vanish into the void. Choices have consequences. The man who beat you can be made to kneel. The woman who chose who went to the gas can be chosen herself. It is terrible. It is human. And for many, it is the only kind of justice they will ever see. Because there will never be enough trials. There will never be enough verdicts. Names will be lost. Files will burn. Some perpetrators will flee and grow old under new names. Some will serve a few years and walk free. Others will die in their beds, holding photographs of families who never knew what their fathers and mothers did behind barbed wire. The executions that happened in the shadows of Dachau's wall, in Buchenwald's courtyards, in the fields around Bergen-Belsen and dozens of other camps will not make it into most history textbooks. They complicate the clean story of good defeating evil. They show that when you open the gates of hell, what comes out is not only gratitude and relief, but also rage, sharpened by starvation and grief. And yet, if you listen closely to the testimonies of those who were there, you hear something else underneath the violence, a desperate attempt to put the world back on its axis, if only for a moment. To say that what happened here cannot just be archived and footnoted, that there must be a reckoning, even if it is messy, even if it stains the hands of the broken as much as those of the guilty. We like to imagine liberation as a single clean image, a flag raised, a gate opened, an embrace between savior and saved. The reality was far more complicated, far more visceral, and far harder to watch. It was also, in all its darkness, undeniably human. History doesn't forget, it only waits to be retold. Subscribe for more untold stories from the darkest chapters of history.